Hello everyone and welcome to episode 48 of GuildGab. This is a show where we talk all about Guild Wars 2 and Heart of Thorns. Today we're going to be talking about the 3rd anniversary of Guild Wars 2. We got some awesome birthday presents. Tomorrow actually is the official 3rd anniversary. We're going to be talking about PAX Prime, which happens in 2 days. We're going to learn about challenging group content, as well as what is in store for the future of the game in general. We've got a beta weekend coming up in just about a week. And we got the Thief Elite specialization revealed as the Daredevil, so of course we're going to be talking a lot about that. First, let me introduce everybody. I am AuroraPeachy, and I'm here with my wonderful co-hosts, MMO Inks and Alex of the RPG Shack. How's it going today, guys?
What's going on? Good to be here. Good to be here.
Unfortunately, we are down an Akasaurus Rex and a Corvus today, so hopefully they will be back next week. We wish them well. Love you guys. We miss you. So, let's start off by talking about PAX Prime, because that is... We talked a lot of last week about challenging group content and what we think that's going to be, so if you wanna find out about that, go and check out last week's video. But we are going to be... all of us are actually involved in hosting and doing pre-shows and post-shows for the show. So, let's start with Inks, since he is doing the pre-show. When can everybody catch you?
Oh, no. I'm doing the post show.
You're doing the post show. No, you're both doing the post show. Oops.
Yeah. Mighty Teapot and Aurora are doing a pre-show, as well as Cammy Rose and
Mufasa.
Prime. Mufasa Prime. Okay, those people are doing the pre-show. I will be doing a post-show right after the show is over. It will be me and Nike from D&T, and we will have our post-show analysis. And once we are done, we are going to pass the torch to Alex at RPG Shack here, and Corvus Plays to do a post-show analysis.
Yes! And those will all be hosted on the Guild Wars 2 channel. So if you're watching there, you can just sit tight. They'll be hosted. And that's on Inks' channel, right? Twitch.tv/MMOinks, your show. And then, Alex, your show will be on your Twitch channel, correct?
Yeah, it'll be on twitch.tv/RPG Shack.
Okay.
And I think we're all going to be on for a while beforehand anyway, aren't we? So whoever you fancy, just drop in one of the three of us and watch the show with us. It's going to be pretty cool.
I highly suggest using multi-Twitch, because then you can watch all of us at once. I will be doing
awesome.
I will be doing right here on my channel. It's not an official thing, but I'm going to be doing a live reaction of the show with Jebro and possibly Richie as well, Bog Otter. So stay tuned, and it's going to be a jam-packed Saturday. And Alex also has a charity stream going on.
I've got a 24-hour live stream, and this falls about halfway through it, so I actually have to stop the clock while we watch the presentation and do the post-show. And then after that, the clock starts again. So I'm actually going to be going for about 27 hours, but it's about it's early evening here, so hopefully we'll be fine, and we'll be good. We'll be good to go. I think we're all going to have a pretty cool weekend, and I think after all the speculation of the last few weeks, we're going to have a lot that we're going to have to digest properly and kind of figure out what it means for the game, because it has been more than obviously everyone's kind of banging on about challenging group content, but there's been more information that's come out, and it sounds like that ArenaNet are looking at where they can take the franchise itself and how they want the game to evolve not out of its current iteration, but how they can continue pushing all like these little quality of life bits and pieces. At least that's what it means to me, and even some fairly major infrastructure changes to the game. And they're taking Heart of Thorns as that opportunity to do that.
We know that the announcement is going to be not only about the challenging group content in Heart of Thorns, but about the base game. I was going to wait until the end of the show to bring this up, but I feel like it's appropriate now. On Tuesday, the EULA, the end user license agreement, was updated, and a lot of the instances where it said NCSoft were changed to ArenaNet. And for those who don't know, NCSoft is the publisher for Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2, and ArenaNet has always worked as them with their publisher, so they've always worked kind of, I don't know if you want to say under them or through them. And so there's speculation that ArenaNet might possibly be splitting from NCSoft because of the changes in the EULA. This is all speculation. So is this something that they would actually announce publicly, like in their presentation, you think?
I think it'd be foolhardy to have it as like a keystone thing in an announcement where they're supposed to be plugging their game and just going, guys, this is fantastic. Oh, and by the way, we're at some point, if you're going to announce that, you're going to have to bring that negative aspect in. So I think it would make
really a negative thing. If they say we're splitting from NCSoft, we can do whatever we want. Guess what, guys? Can't though. So I mean, that would not be a negative thing.
I mean, I really, I really don't think that's something they would announce like that. Not only that, but I'm not sure that any kind of announcement like this, and of course this is all speculation, but any sort of announcement like this, I don't think will happen until after launch of the actual game. I don't think it's something that would happen before the launch of the game because, for all intents and purposes, NCSoft is still heavily involved in Heart of Thorns. Not only that, but the EULA over in Europe has changed a lot like the North American one, but NCSoft is still tied into that documentation. So I'm not even sure we're ever going to see like a total split here. I think it's more of some kind of shuffling around in the upper tiers of the company or upper management of the company, perhaps. NCSoft, I think, has less to do with North America because they don't really have offices here, whereas they have offices in Europe and they have offices in Asia. So, I just think I think it's legality stuff, really. And that really doesn't affect the game for players at all. The best case scenario of this splitting, if a split were to ever happen, I mean, that would be good for us as players because this means ArenaNet can then appropriate whatever money they want and set their own budget, which I'm not sure is something they exactly have full control over. And just be aware that, myself, at least, I'm not somebody who knows the inner workings of ArenaNet. I've never been to their offices. I've never worked for ArenaNet. I don't know how their company works exactly. Certainly, I don't know how their upper management works. So I think a lot of this stuff that's happening is really just kind of legal jargon or some kind of jumbling up of some kind of structure within the company. And I'm not sure the players will ever hear about that or learn about that. But it is a fun thought to entertain that they would split off, become their own company again, which hasn't been the case for a very, very, very long time.
So we have a beta weekend coming up. Next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, the September 4th to the 6th, we have our next beta weekend, and what we're going to get to play pretty much the Herald. We're going to get to play the Herald, the Revenant's Elite Spec, the Berserker, and is the Daredevil in there?
Ninja,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a ninja, let's be honest.
It's a Daredevil. They're very different from ninjas. They're not the same thing.
Ink sounds as if he has a strong opinion on this already.
No, not really. Not really.
Which is fun to say.
Yeah. So we'll have Daredevil, we'll have Berserker, we'll have the Herald, and everything else we had before, right?
Yeah.
The only thing we're missing now is going to be Ranger and Engineer at this point. Yeah, so we'll have everything except those two classes, sadly. And we're also going to open up, it will still be 25% of the map, but it sounds like it's going to be a different 25% of the map, which is extremely exciting. It even says in the article that we'll enter into a different layer of the map. It sounds like the bottom floor, although there was some kind of debate and argument over whether that's actually the case. But I do believe we're going to enter on the bottom floor this time around and get to see what that's about.
Because there is, I think I saw a picture of it from that shaman. There's like, I don't want to spoil, but there's something that made me think it was a little bit higher up than that. But that'd be really cool to. Although if it was like the bottom floor or something, how would hopefully they'd be able to still make gliding quite viable and that you can still glide to.
Well, think about
places.
how the game is right now. The core central Tyria. It's basically a giant bottom floor, but you still have cliffs, you still have hills, you still have things you can jump off of, structures. So
Yeah.
I think what we've seen so far, even if that was the middle layer and you have a lot more open space to glide, that doesn't mean that there will be no opportunities to glide on the bottom floor.
No.
Yeah, I think there'll still be plenty of that. We've also seen, there was also some other talk about a ship of nobles, and there sounds like there's some kind of story wrapped up in that, as well as one of our favorite nobles, although they don't go into any detail. You can speculate. Lord Farron. Something about him going wild. So is Lord Farron going to be Tarzan?
Oh my god, if he's
Lord
Tarzan,
Farron's
I'm gonna lose
Tarzan
it.
of the jungle.
I'm gonna
Tarzan of the jungle.
lose it. Oh,
He's such
my.
a goon. And
Parody writes itself.
It's so bad. It's so bad because there are a lot of people who kind of were first introduced to Lord Farron in the Crown Pavilion update back in was it 2013 maybe. If you do the human noble story, Lord Farron is like your sidekick, and he's just this annoying person for like the first 20 levels of your story. It's like, oh hello, my name's Lord Farron. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, 18 months later, you find him on a beach with Casimir with his junk out. And and then you can get a little mini naked Lord Farron just running around. But anyway, I think the point that Inks was trying to make, was that it looks like there's all of these interesting achievements about what you can do specifically within the beta weekend. And it looks like that they're going to be exclusive to that, so that's a nice little kind of thing to check off on your hipster list.
Right. On Tuesday, there were achievement and a whole achievement section added about the beta weekend. So if you're going to be able to get achievement points only from these beta weekends, and I don't know if this one is specific to beta weekend number 2, or if you're going to continue to be able to get these achievements with future beta weekends, that's an even bigger incentive to pre-purchase, right?
Well, just to be clear, I'm not sure that these achievement points are going to carry over to your regular account. It's true that they do show up on your regular account, but it takes a snapshot of your regular account to carry over. The other thing to note is that when you complete these achievements, it also gives you a mastery point. And I think that this is just ArenaNet's way of giving you an extra way to get mastery points into the game that probably are not likely to be available in that area of the game in that magnitude. This way you're able to continue to earn up experience points, have enough mastery points available if you do these achievements in order to see the higher tiers of the mastery system, so that you can test how it works, so that you can give feedback to ArenaNet on the pacing and that sort of thing. When we play the game on live, I mean, there will be achievements, obviously, but I would expect that these achievements probably won't award you with mastery points. And so you'll have to earn the mastery points by doing more exploration. With us being limited to only 25% of the map, there's only so many mastery points you can earn through adventures, through just naturally being part of the map. And so I think this is their way of injecting more mastery points into that system.
Yeah. So interesting to know as well. If you took part in the previous beta, like the original beta, you've still got all your characters there. So if you created a Revenant last time or Tempest or Chronomancer or whatever, they're still going to be there. So these characters that you had to mess around with, they're still going to be wherever you drop them off, and you can go back into the core world and check out the reward chests in high level maps. And Stronghold's back as well.
Aha, yes.
Stronghold is back. I'm gonna have to play me some Stronghold this time. So what are you guys excited to play this time round? Is there anything you want to get your hands on? Or?
I actually didn't play a lot of the last beta weekend. I am so torn on whether I want to explore Verdant Brink because of spoilers, and I don't know. I think I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and jump in this beta weekend. Last time I wasn't even home, so that was kind of odd. But I think I am this coming beta weekend. I'm gonna do like a reaction because it's gonna be my first time really exploring Verdant Brink. And, even I don't care. Even if I get some spoilers or, you know, whatever, there's still going to be tons of stuff to explore. And I know that this is a concern for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want spoilers, and they want to experience Heart of Thorns. They want to experience the map, the elite specs, you know, the story, everything when it launches. And I totally understand that. I'm kind of the same way. But I think that, you know, especially doing GuildGab, I feel like, okay, I really need to get in there and experience this stuff. So I'm probably going to just jump on Dragon Hunter again, because I only got to play with that a little bit. So I'm going to jump on Dragon Hunter and go into this new part of Verdant Brink, especially because now this is something that nobody's seen. Whereas last beta weekend, it was stuff that there was like a closed beta before that we got to see, like that story step. That was kind of surprising, and you know, so we got to see that again last time. So this time, I don't think there would be any new story.
I don't think that. I think when the blog post went up, they said that you're still going to be guessing the same bit of the story that you've had in previous ones, which makes sense. You know, a little bit of kind of scene setting, and it's kind of interesting. You don't actually have to play the story anyway. You can do the first little bit in the Silver Waste. So you log out, log back in, and you're out of the story instance. And then you can, if you're desperate not to ruin the story for yourself, you can. And like people have been saying in chat, you don't have to go anywhere near the Verdant Brink during the beta. I spent a fair few hours just farming farming ore. For those giant eyes, just completing the events down there.
That's a good idea.
Giant eyes and ore! Giant eyes and ore! Yeah, and they're going to be back as well.
It's interesting because we're getting a different part of the map, still only 25%, but an area we haven't seen yet, with several outposts, it sounds like, if you look at the achievements. I think there is a small possibility we might see a different portion of the story. Now, it does say in the blog post, you're only going to get one chapter. We've seen that chapter, or many of us have seen that chapter up to this point. Maybe it's possible we'd get a different chapter that involved these nobles, right? They talk about this noble ship, and they talk about, you know, they hint at Lord Farron, although they don't spell his name out exactly, going wild or gone wild or whatever. I think there could be a story that happens there. Maybe this will be a small side story. Maybe it will be part of something bigger. Who knows? It's possible we could see that, but if we do see something like that, again, it's only going to be one chapter. I know that some people don't want to be spoiled at all about it, so that's perfectly understandable. But I think that, you know, just go into, you know, if you don't mind being spoiled a little bit, just go into it, play it like you would play it at any other time, appreciate the story that's there, appreciate the content that's there. You're only seeing 25%. So you're really not spoiling that much of the game. This is one map, that's 25%, and it's only like one level, one area. Like if you haven't played the previous betas, you won't really have. I don't think you're going to be able to access that area or that level of the map, and so it'll be interesting to see how that exactly works. I'll be spending a lot of time in Stronghold because I always do, and I'm addicted to the game mode. I'll be playing a lot of Berserker and a lot of Daredevil, mostly because they're the new specializations. I'll be playing Herald as well because I want to try that out, so there'll be a lot of deleting going on, unfortunately, or maybe not unfortunately. You only have 4 slots, so you have to shuffle your characters around a bit. But yeah, I'll be interested to try that out. Dragon Hunter's getting a lot of changes. A lot of changes are going into a lot of the other elite specs. It'll be interesting. I don't know that I'm going to be able to try everything out. It's getting to the point where there's just not enough time to really invest so much time into each of these, but Daredevil and Berserker and Herald, because they're all new, I definitely want to test them and try and give proper feedback. And I do play, you know, a lot of Stronghold because I enjoy testing the character in that faction. And of course, I'll be doing a lot of exploration of the map and seeing what content I can get out of that for myself as well, obviously.
What about you, Alex?
Herald. I really didn't expect to love Revenant as much as I do. I think it's it's such an amazing class. I can't get enough. Even just running around with his staff and being Inventari, and just like clobbering things in the face, and then popping up my little bubble to stop projectiles coming in. Oh, it's so much fun, and I can't wait to try out the I really want to try out Glint in dungeon groups, because all of this boon sharing stuff being on it just sounds so fantastic. So if you're doing like a Glint Shiro combination or something, so you could have like maybe axe shield. I'll think of the weapons in a sec, but maybe like axe shield or sword shield and staff. I don't know.
Mace. Axe is offhand.
Oh no! Sorry, I meant in terms of like the 2 weapon sets. Maybe.
Oh right. Okay.
Take axe shield and then maybe staff on the second weapon set. Unless it's mace main. I always forget which way around it is, but yeah, I can't wait just to go and play around with the shield, and even just like watching the little bits of glint appear every time you use one of the facets and do like the pulsing blast, and it just sounds so cool. And I am like, as I'm sure people know by now, I'm a sucker for shiny crap. So if something looks really, really gimmicky, I'll probably love it, and I'll just be like, yeah. I don't care, it's got no DPS and it sucks in parties and it's got no real use whatsoever. I can chuck bits of dragon around and... yeah. But yeah, Berserker 2, I do want to have a bit of a mess around with setting things on fire and finding out just how overpowered it is.
Berserker can freaking shoot fireballs. I lost it at that part of the live, the points of interest. I was like, it's freaking Mario with the fire flowers, just like shooting fireballs.
It looks so good.
Oh my God.
It looks really powerful, and I'm sure we all enjoy setting stuff on fire in the game. So and I actually want to get one of the reasons I want to get my hands on it as well is the points of interest made it sound like unbelievably powerful. So I'd like to try and temper my skepticism about how powerful it is by actually getting my hands on it and properly playing around with it and actually seeing what it can do in kind of live game situations, because of course anything is going to look powerful if you stick it in front of the PvP golems, and then they are though, aren't they?
Absolutely.
And then you just smash those elementalists and the moose. The moose is those poor old the meese.
Mises.
The Mises.
Mooses.
Poor
mooses.
Poor mooses.
Mises.
But yeah, Daredevil as well. I don't really do Thief, but I kind of want to do Daredevil.
I had the same reaction. You know, I'm not very good at Thief. I'm not very good at keeping myself stealthed as long as I need to. I'm not very good at managing. I'm just not very good at playing the Thief class in general. Most of it has to do with managing stealth. I've never been very good at managing stealth classes. But Daredevil just sounds like so much fun. Number one, they get a staff weapon, which I'm very excited to see how that's going to work, just because I love staff so much on Revenant. And I know the animations won't be the same, but I'm hoping that the feeling is the same. I'm hoping that the way he swings it around or the way that the moves connect, I hope it has that same sort of feeling and impact that the Revenant staff has, even though the Revenant staff doesn't do that much damage. The Thief's version should hopefully do more damage. You know, that coupled with the special dodge mechanics, all the evasiveness of the class, really makes it that much more interesting to me. And I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Getting that extra dodge as well.
Yeah.
You essentially now have a triple dodge.
And
yeah,
that's the whole the new mechanic of this elite spec, right? Is changing how not how dodging works, but giving it extra properties that is going to be the meat of this new elite spec, right?
Yeah,
so it's rather interesting. Sorry, Alex. It's rather interesting because there's not a real core defined mechanic. Like if you look at Necromancer or excuse me, if you look at Reaper, you can say, okay, he's got a new Death Shroud. That's his big thing. If you look at Chronomancer, he's got Continuum Split. The Thief just gets an extra endurance bar of 50, so 150 instead of 100. His special dodge rolls really come through his master traits. You're going to have to decide which master trait you want in order to get that particular dodge roll. So I'm not sure that that is like a direct mechanic. It's a bit odd how it's structured. It's structured a bit different than the other classes, and I think that that's pretty interesting, that they went this particular route with the class.
Yeah. I mean, so some of them do sound pretty cool, though. Two that you actually get some finishes on your dodges now, which I don't think we've had up to this point in the game, unless.
Well, you get a finisher on the Elite, which is like a 3-combo attack.
Oh no, but with the with the dodges, so you've got.
I see what you mean, like a whirl finisher and stuff. Yeah, two of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty something like that. I don't think we've really had before, because all the skills that give you a little bit of extra dodge and event. I think Ride the Lightning might stun when you finish, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But it just sounds so great, like you said, that elite skill, which is a 3-in-1 kind of combo. Just it's just cool. I don't really know what else to say about it, because it just seems I don't know too much about how a thief usually works, so I don't know how much this is affecting the standard play of the class. But to me, it sounds it actually sounds a little bit like the assassin from Guild Wars 1. I'm just looking at one of the some of the utility skills here. So in Guild Wars 1, the way that the assassin skill bar works was you had 3 tiers of skill. You had openers, you had mid combos, and you had finishers, or whatever they were called. And you could kind of line attacks up, so you could have a couple of starting moves, then some mid moves, and then a more powerful finishing move if you use them all in order. And with this Fist Flurry, where it says strike your enemies multiple times, if all attacks hit, gain access to Palm Strike. So you complete an attack, and you get access to a more powerful effect, which I assume on the Guild Wars 2 bar is like the flip over. That's crazy, isn't it? So you essentially get 2 massive hits if you manage to complete what is essentially a combo chain. Right. So I think that's really cool that they're bringing in a little bit of almost like Street Fighter-y type stuff, making you start to think about chaining attacks together.
Doing
and
combos.
Like I said, yeah, and like I said, they did that on the Assassin.
That's what I thought of.
A little bit in Guild
That's
Wars
what I
1.
thought of was the Assassin. It's very similar to how Assassin works, because I played some Assassin in Guild Wars 1, and you're right. It's like. I lined up my skills on the skill bar, like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You have your opener, your mid, and your finisher. And I'm actually kind of surprised. This is completely going kind of off topic, but I'm kind of surprised that they didn't call it Assassin, unless they didn't want to link it to Guild Wars 1. I was surprised by Daredevil. I was like, really? But I guess it makes sense. But I don't know. I thought Assassin would have been more appropriate.
I assume it's probably for the same reason they didn't call Dragon Hunter Paragon or something like that, just to try and distance themselves from the names.
Well, and it could just be something they're saving for a later date. Maybe they want to save Assassin for down the line, or maybe they want to save Paragon for down the line, or
that's true.
Whatever the case is. The Daredevil is all about. It's a good deal of it is apparently like AOE attacks. While still having enough single target damage, but being very mobile, dodging everywhere and being very evasive in a lot of the things that you're doing. And so that sounds very acrobatic. A lot of people are saying that it's like they're giving the acrobatic line back to Thieves, which makes Thieves very happy because they weren't very happy when that was removed. So the Daredevil sort of fits that kind of thing. When you think of Daredevil, or when you think of the comic, I guess, to me, I automatically think about the comic book character. And he's very much a acrobatic type fighter, right? He's flipping all over the place, and he's, So a staff ninja, somebody said, yeah, it very, very much fits that sort of style, I guess.
Yeah. Is Daredevil the one that's blind?
Yes.
Ah. Which is weird.
What's funny is your attacks cause weakness and blindness.
Blindness, yeah.
So it's like the opposite of yeah.
But do you guys think it's interesting they went with staff again? So this is the second instance that we've had a weapon repeat itself as an elite specialization.
I'm a little bit surprised with the number of repeatable weapons that we've seen so far. Staff obviously being repeated. Shield is it Shield that's
Yeah,
Shield's
Herald.
been repeated because Chronomancer and Herald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised with them like doubling up on weapons so much. But I guess in some circumstances this just fit whatever theme they were trying to go with, which actually makes me happy because it means that they're not saying, okay, we need to give this class a short bow, so now let's come up with an idea on how this fits around short bow. Rather, they develop the class and then they say, okay, what weapon fits in here? Well, we already have other staff users. Oh well, this is what fits. This is what belongs here. And I'm much happier to see that type of development rather than focus on a weapon or tool type and then have develop around that.
Yeah, completely agree. I think that going back to this dodge mechanic that they're getting, I kind of agree that I think it's odd that it's tied to that Grandmaster trait. And even though you're going to have that by default just because you can't be an elite spec without being 80 and having all your traits, so it's like you do automatically get that, but I feel like whereas I feel like when I look at the Revenant, you get to pick, you don't, it's not like your Grandmaster is which legend you have. You just get to pick right on your skill bar which legend. I feel like it should have been you get to pick between those 3 dodge abilities right on your skill bar rather than relying on your Grandmaster trait. So then you could even change it a little better on the fly. Say, okay, now I want this finisher, or now I want the one that does the Condi removal, so that it was a little more quick. I feel like that would have been better.
I guess it's kind of the same idea for what they did with the Dragon Hunter virtues, because when obviously when you choose the Dragon Hunter, they all automatically change. But I think it's the Master trait line where you can choose the effects that they all have. So you know the one that you can choose where the wings of resolve slam down and actually cause damage, or the arrow one, or the chain one causes like extra burning or something, and I can't remember what the last one does. So I think the Dragon Hunter has a kind of similar thing there, where something that is by default is augmented by one of your traits, but because it's not like, because the only kind of extra that you're getting is an additional dodge, which I guess is reason enough to kind of augment it with these various bits and pieces.
That's true, because even though that's a very good point, is comparing it to the Dragon Hunter, which doesn't. Yeah, their virtues are changed, but the virtues aren't a new mechanic. So just having them change is similar to this. I was surprised that it's all about dodge with Daredevil, because dodge is such a base thing about every class, about the game. I mean, there's certainly traits in other professions that change, like what happens at the end of your dodge, and so you can change that kind of stuff. So it's such a fundamental thing about the game that I thought that was, I don't know, it's not a unique mechanic, but at the same time it's unique to change it so drastically because it's a core mechanic of the game. And what are the effects? You not only get a third one, like you said, but one of the Grandmasters lets you go further. Lets the dodge actually go further, and one of them's directional, isn't it?
Oh yeah, unhindered combat. Your dodge ability changes to dash, which is also a condition which removes cripple and chill effects, and increases the distance you dodge. So, yeah, that's quite a nice utility addition to it, rather than just going, what should we do? Oh, you throw flaming daggers out, so you can choose this to cause burning as well. Because everyone would choose that, I think.
Right.
Yeah. But you've got leap finishes and crush damage on one, and then you've got, like we said, the whirl finisher that bleeds. Do you know what? The more that we get into Heart of Thorns, just with the Lotus training, because it deals torment, I'm really getting into giving people torment. I think it's so much fun just to dish it out and watch people wander around and kill themselves. But it's yeah, I can understand what you mean, that it's a little bit strange that they're tied into a choice that you have to make rather than augmenting your utilities or some of your skills. You know, like the various other things do, like on the corruption line on Revenant. There's a Grandmaster trait that you can take, which allows you to cast resistance when you activate the elite skill. Kind of augmentations like that, you know, where you give extra protection on one of the Tempest skills, that kind of thing, rather than doing adapting something that isn't completely controlled by the player character. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I was trying to say earlier, and I don't think I made my point very clear, was all the other elite specializations somehow augment your F skills, whether it be adding an extra F skill or the Guardian's Virtues change or whatever the case is. All the other elite specs, even Herald, has something to do with the F skill. And Daredevil has nothing to do with the F skill. It's all about the dodge itself, which is a very core mechanic to your combat in Guild Wars 2 in general. And it's going to be very interesting to see how things like Sigils of Energy or Adventurer runes, perhaps, which are not even used ever, how like these things are going to change it, because that gives you like extra endurance, or it refills your endurance in some cases. And endurance is going to be very important. There's benefits to having your endurance full, and then there's benefits to not having your endurance full, depending on which traits you decide to choose. And so the class is going to become very centric around not only managing your initiative, which thieves already have to do, but also probably managing the right amount of endurance to know when to use these dodge skills, which particular dodge skill is going to be beneficial in different cases. People are saying, like, you know, anti-Reaper dodge, for example, because of the immobilize and chill. And so I think that adds a whole other dimension that's pretty interesting to the class itself. And it functions differently. When you look at it on paper, at the very least, it functions differently than the other elite specs that we've already seen, at least. It doesn't touch on the Thieves' F skills. It just touches on this central dodge mechanic by giving them extra endurance.
It's a good point. It's very true. I would have expected the whole initiative system to somehow change. And it just isn't getting affected at all.
No, I don't. I think it's like the whole steal mechanic is essentially the same.
Yeah.
As far as what we understand, as far as we understand.
Right.
It's. The F2 on the Thief is a fairly recent addition as it is, isn't it? So, I mean, that's not been there.
They changed that recently.
It's not been there a huge.
Right. There was F1,
time,
but then you would shadow step to the enemy and steal from them, and then you would have that item. You couldn't shadow step and steal again until you use that item. So now they added that, so that when you steal the item, it goes into the F2 slot, and if you don't want to use it, you can just steal again, and then it changes the F2. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm no thief expert, but
no, that's correct.
We really need a thief expert, don't we? I don't think.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't think any of the five of us main thief.
No, we don't. When I think of thief, I always think of little Asura, because my thief is an Asura, and she's so tiny, and she has her double daggers and her double pistols, and she just runs around, and yeah. They're fun, though. Yeah. There's my thief experience. I leveled her a long time ago.
I know that a lot of people use thieves in dungeons obviously for the stealth mechanic. So I think they're still going to be, as long as they can kind of still keep up the stealth and that kind of thing. I can see Daredevils being quite fun to play, or at least being kind of valuably in a meta party makeup, for whatever you want to call it. It's just because I'm just kind of looking at the utility skills as well. Just bring them over here, and there's quite a bit of control stuff here as well with some of the utilities, and a lot of what I understood Thief to be. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong about this. Was kind of really high, or how most people play Thief was high kind of spike DPS, and then the stealth utility. But then you've got stuff like you've got knockdowns and interrupts, and you've got slows and immobilizes on various utilities here. And it seems like it's becoming a little bit more of a control class, at least in my mind. If you guys think I'm wrong about that, feel free to kind of shoot me down, because I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to Thief.
So Thieves and Dungeons do extremely good DPS. They bring a very good amount of utility. Daredevil sounds like it's going to bring even more utility and damage modifiers to the class, which will mean its DPS increases. So I think that Daredevil is going to be a great boon for the Thief class in general. The number crunchers out there, of course, will do all the math and figure that stuff out, but just at a glance, that's how it looks to me, without knowing exactly how much these damage modifiers are really going to affect overall combat. Thief is already in a good situation when it comes to the current PvE meta. In structured PvP, they work very well, and I don't see that Daredevil is going to hurt the class at all. It's most of these are supposed to be side grades, and in this case, and other cases as well, but in this case, I think that it's probably going to be an upgrade for the class if you want to play a particular style anyway.
So how, I know, like we said, we're not extremely, none of us are main a Thief, but I always wonder how, so what makes Daredevil different from Thief as far as how is Thief still viable in itself? Why would you play a Thief over a Daredevil?
Perhaps because of how the party stealth mechanic would end up working if you had to run, if Daredevil lost, or if the stealth skills like Shadow Refuge and Smoke Bomb and that kind of thing didn't work well with how the Daredevil traits interact with the rest of the class. I can see people kind of sticking to Thief in that kind of situation. Even if it's just to get an extra blast on your shadow, whatever it is, to get the maximum amount of stealth you can. So I think that if Daredevil will probably have to trade. I think I've already said this. That Daredevil probably might have to trade off a little bit of that group utility to actually become a viable alternative in its own right. If you see what I mean. So if someone goes, "Oh, I want to bring Daredevil to a dungeon," you're like, "All right, that's great. We've got someone who can jump around the battlefield. We've got people who can knock down poison, slow them down, and all the rest of it, and generally make a little bit of a pain in the ass for the bad guys." I think that's the role it might end up playing. I can see it being kind of fun, and maybe I'm thinking maybe a bit more PvP centric than PvE for the Daredevil.
I think Daredevil is going to suffer in the same way that Warriors and Berserkers suffer, in that what do you sacrifice in order to take Daredevil?
Absolutely.
I think Thieves are in a better flexible position than Warriors are. Warriors really have to make a tough decision on whether they want Berserker or not, because Warriors for PvE will probably have to give up arms in order to take Berserker. That may or may not be beneficial. Probably beneficial, but we'll have to really wait and see on that. Thief is in a similar position where it needs to sacrifice one of its already well-defined specialization lines in order to take the Daredevil trait. So the question is, which trait line do you sacrifice in order to take Daredevil, and how does that change your overall build for that given meta? In PvP, we'll have, again, it's really hard to speculate without actually playing the class or really seeing it in a point of interest. But I think, like I said, I think Thieves have a lot more flexibility in what they can afford to sacrifice, where Phalanx Strength Warriors, for example, have a very tough decision ahead of them on what they're going to sacrifice in order to still keep that build viable. Now, if you have 2 warriors in a party, this is getting off topic, obviously, then there's a lot more flexibility in what you can sacrifice for those builds. But, yeah, that's what it really comes down to. I think other classes, you know, have a lot more flexibility in their builds that, yeah, I can afford to sacrifice this line, or I can afford to sacrifice that line, where as warriors and thieves, to some extent, have a difficult decision to make as far as which line to sacrifice. And maybe I'm a bit off. Maybe that decision is not so tough for the thieves, but from my limited knowledge, for PvE anyway, it's going to be, there is a sacrifice that's going to have to be made there for one of those lines.
I want to talk about some of these, one of the utility skills and then the elite skill. Inks got me really excited in his video he did about the Daredevil, talking about some of these skills, and brought up some really good points. So I wanna bring those up. Palm Strike for utility. Strike your enemy once to deal mass damage and stun your enemy, marking them with a pulmonary impact. After a few moments, pulmonary impact delivers a second blow. This ability cannot critically hit enemies. So, Inks, some of the forgive me for kind of just repeating what you said in your video, but it really got me thinking about this pulmonary impact. We don't know what the time is, we don't know what the damage is right now, but it delivers that second blow. So one of the things that got me very interested was that we don't know if this is removable. So once you're hit, once you have that, I guess, status effect, it's not a condition, it's like kind of like an effect. So is that going to be removable by not condition removal, right?
I mean, I would assume that it won't be removable. It's just like when a Necro puts a mark on you, when he uses the, I forget what it's called, the vampire mark or something. I would imagine it won't be removable, but it was an interesting thought to entertain for a moment there, that you're putting this mark or this symbol on them. Probably not removable, but the player will know that that mark is on them. I would assume they'll know that that mark is on them, so they know that more damage is coming in 4 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever the time happens to be.
What do I do?
They need to deal with it. Is that going to down them? Is it going to kill them? And I think that adds interesting gameplay there. I think it adds a fun thing. You know, you do a palm strike, the other player's going to know, okay, in 3 seconds, I'm going to take another 4,000 damage or something, or 2,000 damage, whatever it happens to be. And they need to know and prepare for that ahead of time. And if they don't, then I think that this Daredevil class is going to like catch them off guard when they use these kind of abilities. And Palm Strike happens not just on this utility, this physical skill, but you can trait to have this happen on critical hits. Now, there's probably an internal cooldown to that. I would have to assume that there's an internal cooldown of some kind. But regardless, it just sounds like it's a lot of fun to apply to your enemies, right?
It makes me think of a samurai. You see the samurai in the movies, like they go through and they slash their enemy. They put their sword in. As soon as they put their sword in, the enemy falls down. It's like this delayed damage. That's what it made me think of.
The really weird thing is that there's a few bits and pieces in this, and I meant to say this earlier, that really remind me of D&D monks. So stuff like Fist Flurry and Palm Strike.
Absolutely.
The stuff that, I mean, I absolutely love monks, especially in the Infinity Engine games.
I'm playing one right now in our Friday game. Sorry.
Like in 3.5, they are indestructible, aren't they? You get
awesome.
Is it like you get to like 12th level and you get diamond skin and that's it. You might as well just, everyone else might as well go home and just let you continue the adventure by yourself. But for monks in D&D, they can use weapons and they can use armor, but they take penalties for it. But looking at all this kind of like the Fist Flurry, it sounds very very martial, doesn't it? And I think that's one of the kind of angles that they've been going for the Daredevil. I just love the feel of it. Like you guys were saying, it just sounds like a lot of fun to play around with. And I think just kind of like wandering around PvP, smacking somebody with Palm Strike and then running off and watching them fall over and seeing their little downed icon appear on your minimap as you run away.
The distracting daggers and impairing daggers. I know, again, Inks, in your video, you described it as like, is this a kit or is this like similar to a summoned weapon? Because this is going to put this is the utility that apparently gives you, it says equip a set of daggers that can be thrown to daze enemies and interrupt enemies. This is distracting daggers. This is also a really interesting skill. Interrupting a skill with this ability increases the recharge of the skill interrupted. My mind immediately went back to those damn mesmers in Guild Wars 1 that would put oh my gosh, so much grief. So much grief. Such a huge cooldown. I don't remember what the skill is called. Someone can correct me, but there was a mesmer skill. They put it on you. The next a mesmer hex. Excuse me. The next skill that you knew. This isn't just interrupting. You knew when that hex was on you. So if you caught it, then you knew that the next skill you used was going to go on this super long recharge. And, it was so annoying.
Yeah, you know, I float out the. I could see it working one of two ways. Excuse me. I could see it working two different ways. So I do float this idea out in the video that it could be like a kit. I really don't think that's the case because the other skills don't act like kits. It does say equip, however. So I think it's going to act a little bit like a mantra in the sense that it'll give you 2 charges, or maybe it'll give you 3 charges or something like that. But I think it'll give you a number of charges, and as you press this skill, it'll use a charge or something. Now, there's nothing in the trait lines to suggest that this could be improved somehow. The skill doesn't go into any detail on how this happens, but those are the 2 ways I kind of envision the skill actually working. Either it would work like a kit where it would give you a few daggers that would overwrite your weapon, which would sound rather odd for the thief, but it does say equip in the skill, but maybe that's just words. Or it's a skill that you use, and maybe you can use it twice, or maybe you can use it 3 times. Maybe it's only a 1 use. Maybe you literally only throw 1 dagger. Not really sure. But this is definitely, in my mind anyway, this is a skill-intensive skill to use because you need to know the animations of your enemy. You need to know what he's trying to do, which skill he's using. I think for a lot of new elite specializations, that's going to be much easier because those tells are a lot more apparent. But for me personally, I'm not sure that I have the skill to... I don't think I have the personal skill to determine, like, when a mesmer is doing a particular skill other than, like, the heals I know. I know when another enemy is trying to heal, that I could interrupt, and putting the heal on a longer cooldown is definitely something you would want to do. The elites as well. Some of the elites are very telltale, but that's going to be the skill in this one. Using it at the correct time to interrupt the skill that you want to put on a longer cooldown for your enemy, and in some cases could lock them out or cripple them long enough for you to kill them.
Huge. So someone in chat said, what if it goes on your F2 skill? Maybe equipping instead.
Yeah, that could act. I didn't consider that, but yeah, absolutely. That's something that could probably happen. Use the skill and it pops into that F2 skill, and then you can use it as like a one-off thing and get your interrupt out there. That would be actually really awesome if that's exactly how it works, because then it lets you charge that up and save it, and then you can use it when you want to. Right.
And thank you to chat for diversion was that damn mesmer hex. And yes, I was on the wrong side of it. So the Daredevil's Elite introduces the first skill-based finisher. This was what? It's the Daredevil's Elite skill is a combo skill, and on the third one, finishing blow, deal a downward strike on your opponent. Deal a downward strike on your foe, and downed enemies struck with this ability are finished. So it is an instant finisher as a skill. What? Is this OP, or is this like a very situational thing?
I mean, I think it's rather situational. If your enemy is in a down state, or you put them into a down state, then it's going to have its moment of it seems OP in that moment. But if you're using this on an enemy that doesn't go into a down state, then that finisher doesn't... I mean, it does damage probably, but it doesn't actually kill them or anything like that. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how long this chain happens. Like, is it a 2-second chain? Is it a 1.75 second chain, or like how long is the chain actually? Because you interrupt, then you do an uppercut, which is not a knockback. Even they make that pretty clear, and then you do this downward strike. So it does sound very cool. I'm sure the animations are going to be amazing throughout the class. But is it OP? I don't know that it's that OP.
I think this is what it kind of boils down to most of the time on here with these specializations. We need to get our hands on it, and
absolutely. Yeah, this is all just speculation. I was glad to see that we got a lot more information and skills and traits, a lot of stuff here in the Daredevil. Whereas last week I felt like Berserker was kind of like very bare bones. Whereas this blog post was like, okay, they have the Daredevil really planned out. They know what they're doing. So I think they're just going to be. We're just gonna have. There's gonna be a lot to see tomorrow on Points of Interest.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes. All right. Well, let's end the show with talking about Guild Wars 2's 3rd anniversary, which is officially tomorrow. But a lot of people got their presents, their 30-year birthday presents, on Tuesday, which was the head start of when Guild Wars 2 launched. So we got the third birthday present, which the main thing was a finisher, which I thought looked really, really awesome.
It did.
Oh
it's
my
so
god!
Cool.
It was
probably
so cool.
One of my favorite finishers, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since I bought the Rainbow Unicorn finisher, I'm just like, no other finisher compares. But this one made me consider: do I want to put the Rainbow Unicorn on, or do I want to put this one on? Because for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's like this sword, this shiny sword that is brand new. I don't think we've ever seen this sword before.
No,
like,
I don't think so.
Floats over your enemy, and there's like the Guild Wars 2 dragon head, like above the sword, and it's like space and time and nebula. I can't even describe it. It's a really, really cool effect. I don't know what it has to do with birthdays, but except for just being a reward for the 3rd birthday.
Being super awesome.
Being super awesome. I think you get the title Faithful, I believe is the...
Yeah, it's the title Faithful, yeah.
Faithful, you get the Faithful title. Those are the things you get from the, like, your achievement track. Those are the 2 rewards. And then you get mailed your usual, I think it's a level 30 scroll, or level 30, whatever you call it.
It's like a jump scroll that instantly jumps you to a particular level.
Right. Previous birthdays, we've had these for 20, level 20.
20.
This year it's 30. You get your birthday booster, and then you get to pick a die from a gem store die. There's a bunch of kits. I don't even have the list in front of me.
It's any of the special gem store dies except the ones from the Shadow Collection. So that's it, like the Lion's Arch Survivors pack, Timey's pack. God, just goes on and on and on. And so you can get some really expensive dies for absolutely free just for playing the game. Yeah. So for some reason, Electro Blue at the moment is like 1,000 gold. I have no idea why.
I heard it was because it was one of the only dyes that actually dyes the luminescent armor. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard.
Oh, interesting.
Which luminescent armor is already kind of bluish, so I don't know why you would want.
I'm not really sure why you would.
But yeah, that is one of them that you can get. So.
But yeah, and it's not character bound either. So every time one of your characters turns 3 years old, you get another one of these packs, just like we all have 250 mini Jenners sitting around.
Right. I'm sorry, Inks.
Yeah, bud, you've got to wait. Okay. You've got to wait to wait, haven't you?
Look, I still get 2 of them. That's still. I think that I'm still more than happy with 2. Obviously, I should be getting 10, but I'm gonna get 2, and that's still. Hey, you know what? Even though as a die collector, I got my Electro Blue that saves me 1,000 gold. I can't complain about that.
Yeah.
And then I'll pick whatever the next most expensive color I don't own is, and that'll save me another 600 gold or something in a couple of days now. So, I mean, yeah, okay. I do have small, tiny regrets about deleting all those original characters, but whatever.
So I'm just gonna find the pinkest pink I can find.
The pinkest pink.
The pinkest pink.
Electro pink.
Electro pink.
I
I
might
still
be the pinkest pink. I'm not sure.
I haven't actually chosen my dye yet, and I probably have more characters that have had their birthdays. So once you pick, because when you open the dye pack, it gives you a list of the sets, so you can pick Timmy's dye set or whatever, all the different dyes. Does it like open up another window and then give you the list of dyes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't know what I wanted, so I didn't want to even go past that first screen.
Oh no! Wait, you have to select the pack that you want first before it'll show you what the dyes are inside. So
yeah.
get on the trading post to find out which one you want first, and then wiki it to find out which pack it's in. And
exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Will do. I think that was all the third anniversary gifts, right?
Yeah, I think that was it.
And we also had the wedding dress, which of course you guys probably don't care about, but I was super excited that the wedding dress was released on Tuesday. And there was I heard people a little perturbed that it cost 1,000 gems. Because I think that's the most expensive an outfit has ever been.
Does it really?
Yeah, it's 1,000.
I think why it might be that expensive is because it actually changes based on the race that you
It's
play.
actually 10 different outfits.
Right, yeah.
Because every single race and gender has a completely different design.
But still, 1,000
most
gems.
outfits, not even all outfits, but most outfits are 2 combinations, male and female. I guess some of them technically look different on different races. I guess I really shouldn't say that, but it is 10 different outfits in one outfit. It's 1,000 gems, more than I'm willing to pay for an outfit, but to each their own.
Yes, it's
Wedding attire is expensive.
That's true.
It is.
Yeah.
Weddings are not. Yeah, a lot of people were tweeting at me. Weddings are not cheap. That is very true. Even the cheapest of weddings are not cheap. So
No.
there you go.
Also, as well, while the anniversary stuff is going on, there's a whole bunch of different gem store stuff.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
every day. So both sets of wings are in at the moment. So
Yes. So until they're gonna add either they're gonna bring back an old item for regular price, or an item is gonna go on sale every single day, and sometimes it's multiple. So in all of those, they're gonna keep adding one every single day, and then I believe on the at the end of the month, they're all gonna go away. But I believe they're gonna continue on into a little bit in September. They're gonna continue either bringing stuff back or having sales. But those original ones, it sounds like are going to be gone. So make sure you get into the game on the 31st and buy what you want to buy, because those items will probably disappear the next day.
The 30th, I think. Actually, it's only a couple. It's like maybe it is the 31st. The article said the 30th, but I think you just have 4 days or 5 days left. I'm not sure how many days at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys can go in game and check it out. But regardless. Yeah. Come that day, a lot of those things are going to leave the gem store. So you want your white wings. I didn't check today. I guess it's black wings today. If you want those wings, make sure you buy them this time rather than miss out on it. And then you're like, I didn't get the wings. So now you have several days to decide whether you want to buy that stuff. And Peachy is absolutely right. Some of these things that are being brought back are not going to be discounted. I've seen a lot of people complaining about this sort of thing. And the blog post is fairly clear that there will be discounted items. We've seen some of those already. There will be items brought back that you wouldn't normally be able to buy, such as the, Marjorie weapons or the Brock's weapons, the wings, for example. Those are generally not discounted. There's also going to be new items added, such as the wedding dress. So these are all part of the sale. It's like a 21-day sale, so I guess the sale will be like reset on the 30th or the 31st, and then it'll continue on from there for several more days. So there you guys go. Get your sale on.
Yeah. Get on there, get in the gem store, and keep in mind that you can convert gold to gems. So I know I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, I don't get paid until the 1st, so I can't remember." Get in game and farm. Get your farm on. Convert that gold to gems.
Get that farm llama going.
I bet it's really high. The exchange rate is really high right now. But if you absolutely need this rare item that's been brought back, then make sure to get in game and get it while you can, because we don't know when it's going to come back again. Bunny ears, please, and character slot sale, please. Character slot sale. It's been.
You just got character slots.
I know. I still have.
Heart of Thorns.
I know. I still have 2, but I want more.
Oh my gosh.
I need more.
Talk about entitled veteran players.
No.
It's funny, but I wonder if a character slot would make people. Character slot sale would make people angry.
Oh, do it. Do it.
Because
if anyone from ArenaNet is watching, character slots, 200 gems. Go.
Because there was like a lot of complaints when the pre-purchases first came out about people having to spend money on these character slots. I can only imagine like those people who spent that money would then go back and say, "Oh my God, now they're on sale. I want a refund or whatever."
Yeah. They probably.
That doesn't mean they shouldn't do it. They should still sell character slots because people always buy character slots. So they should totally.
That's got to
put
be
them
a
on
huge
sale.
moneymaker. Either way, let them complain. Let them complain. All right, guys, we're gonna end the show there. I think we have covered everything. So if you're watching live on Twitch, please stay tuned for the post show. It's always lots of fun. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, go down below and check out the links to all of our pages. And make sure to tune in this weekend, Friday, for Points of Interest, as well as on Saturday is the big PAX announcement, and all of us are going to be covering that, so make sure to tune in and favorite us on Twitch. So we will see you guys next week, where we're going to be chatting all about this challenging group content. I am super hype!
Can't wait for it. It's going to be good.
Alright guys, we will see you next week. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.